Good afternoon, this is Gilbert DeWell from Wild Rose Farm. This is my growing green garden tips. Listen, you hear it? It's raining. It's been raining for a week and a half. When it rains like this, sometimes you have a few little problems. The wet nicky, the mold, the dampness, but it's also another problem for our friendly pollinators. In the greenhouse here, we have the beautiful flowers to attract the pollinators. So my cucumbers get pollinated, but pollinators don't like rain. So once in a while, you need to come and be the bee. There's a lot of non-traditional pollinators that will come and pollinate flies, parasitic wasps, and stuff like that. But if you're unsure that your greenhouse crops are getting pollinated, if you're not sure if they're getting pollinated or not, a simple little thing is usually you do it around 11 o'clock till about 3 o'clock, and you take a little paintbrush and you go pretend you're a bee and pollinate. In the commercial industry, it's a vibrator that you can just touch the plant and it vibrates the plant to pollinate it. I kind of wanted to bring it to your attention that if you wanted to continue to have crops with your cucumbers and tomatoes, it may be a good thing to come and do a little bit of pollination. A simple thing like trellising your cucumbers in the middle of the day on a rainy day will shake the vine enough that it'll pollinate. If you don't have pollination, you don't have produce.
No produce, that's right.
So this is one of the little iffy things that happens if you have pollination. That's a baby cucumber. And another thing is the cucumber has one flower that's male and one flower that's female. So half the flowers will not produce cucumbers because they're the male flowers. The other half of the flowers will be female flowers because that's where the cucumber comes. So sometimes you think, oh, there's a whole bunch of flowers that dropped and there's not a lot of cucumbers on there, and it's because there's more males than females. So because it's dark, they don't open as much when it's poor weather. So there's a lot of little things that happen here that can influence your crop. We've been having rain now almost 2 weeks, so everything is wet and soggy. The pollinators are not necessarily here. And in a damp time like now, it's important in a greenhouse because it's high humidity to have good air circulation, and that's why my doors are open so the wind can blow through. And if you can see on that crop, I did it on that side. I haven't done this side yet. I took out all the bottom leaves to improve the air circulation in around the bottom to reduce the amount of molding, right?
Right.
So, there's a fly. That is a pollinator.
Ah.
So, sometimes it's your, not necessarily the bees all the time, but it can be other insects that are roaming around that don't seem to be bothered by the humidity that will be pollinating. But if you think you're not getting enough pollination, just go with a little paintbrush and go up and down the vine, down the other one, up and down the vine, which is labor intensive. And the best time to pollinate flowers is between 11 o'clock and 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Midday is the time of day that most insects are the most active. That's including the pollinators.
Just follow nature's pattern.
Follow nature's pattern.
Okay.
You can buzz and sing if you want, like bees. Pollination is one of the key things, especially in the damp weather.
Yes.
You don't have as much insect activity, so you need to consider that. The male flower has the stamens, right? And the female flower doesn't. So this is a female flower here. You see it?
Yes.
There's no stamens, right?
Right.
Here they are.
Okay.
So this is the male flowers. See the little bit of pollen there? So you just put your brush on that and then you bring it to the female one.
Okay, so this is a male
Mm-hmm.
flower. Okay. Then,
Now if you go in any biology book, they have the pretty pictures.
okay.
And sometimes a hand picture is a little bit different.
This is female. Beautiful.
Sometimes a magnifying glass, if you're like me, that tends to have a little bit more visual challenges. That's kind of part of it. So these are called imperfect flowers when you have the male and the female separate. Perfect flowers have the male and the female, all the parts on one flower.
One flower.
Imperfect flowers have the male and females. And there are some, like spinach, the male is on one plant different than the other plant.
Asparagus too.
Asparagus too, you're right.
Oh.